The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
Well, welcome to the Optavia Habits of Health call. I'm Shirley Mast. I'm a certified Optavia coach, and it is my pleasure to host this call for you. Now, if this is your first time joining us for the Habits of Health call, a special welcome to you. This call is for all Optavia clients, coaches, and health professionals. You might not fit in any of those categories. Maybe you're simply interested in learning more about our program or how to create better health. So whichever your background, we're just really glad you're here. So welcome to the call. We're glad to have you with us tonight. Now, you might be hearing content that's geared towards those that are in various stages of their health journey. Some are in the weight loss stage, some are in transition, some are in the optimization phase. They're moving on towards a lifetime of optimal health. Optavia offers excellent tools and support for weight loss, but we also have a lot to offer for anyone who's looking for better health in any area of life. So if you're in the weight loss phase, perhaps on our 5-in-1 plan, be sure to follow the guidelines that have been set up for you as guided by your free Optavia coach. Now, this webinar is being recorded. It will be available on your Optavia coach's co-branded website, as well as on our YouTube channel and on our podcasts within 48 hours. So if you're looking on YouTube, search Habits of Health Zoom. And for podcasts, you can open the podcast player of your choice. We'd recommend iTunes and just search for Optavia. It's that easy. Now, if you're one of those that are listening to the recording, congratulations to you for investing in your health. And we invite you all to join us live next time to be part of the discussion. These Habits of Health support webinars are held every Wednesday evening at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can visit your coach's co-branded website for the link and for more information. So I am really excited about our topic this evening, and I've talked with quite a few of you who knew what we were going to talk about tonight, and you guys are really excited too. And so we're going to dive in pretty quickly and talk a bit about morbid obesity and how the path to freedom. Now, a lot of you are aware, definition of morbid obesity, generically speaking, is someone who's 100 pounds over his or her ideal body weight. And actually, with the number of people that are on this call, I'd love to hear from some of you guys. Now, because on this call, there are a lot of people on this call, I suspect, who have lost 100 pounds or more. So if you are one of those people and you're comfortable doing that, just put in the chat box how many pounds you've lost. We'd love to hear from you. Now, for the rest of you, you might be on this call because you have a friend who is on your heart and you're trying to figure out how in the world you can help them. So if that's the category you fit into, put F for friend in the chat box, okay? You've got a friend or two that you'd like to reach out, or maybe you've got 5. You can put 5 Fs in the chat box, okay? And some of you are on this call because you yourself are wondering if it's possible to gain freedom from morbid obesity. And if that's you, put a Y in there for yes. That means, yep, this is me. I'd like to be free from morbid obesity. Yeah, I love this. I can just sit here and watch the chat box all evening. This is too much fun. Now, I will tell you this, the chat box is an awesome way for us to do kind of feedback. But if you have any questions this evening, please do not put them into the chat box. I won't be able to see them fast enough to be able to respond to those. And we will be using Q&A later. But I'd ask you to not use that right now because I think some of the questions that you might have, we're going to answer for you before you even get to them. So this evening, I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you, but I cannot wait for you to meet my special guest this evening. So as I said to you earlier, my name's Shirley Mast. I'm a certified Optavia coach, as is my next guest. And my story began back in August of 2010. I indeed was engulfed in morbid obesity. I had been overweight ever since 3rd grade. I had been obese for almost all of my adult life and morbidly obese for most of that. And so when I came to the program, I was at a pretty desperate place. I weighed close to 400 pounds, and I had resigned myself to what I thought would be my future. And that was, I fully expected at the age of almost 49 to not to get to meet my grandchildren. Made me very sad, honestly, but I didn't know how to fix that. I didn't know anybody who had truly broken free from morbid obesity. I'd known friends that had lost weight and put it back on, but I didn't know anybody that had lost a lot of weight and was able to keep it off. So when my physician recommended this program to me, I came into it kicking and screaming because I didn't think it was possible for me to see success. Well, I got 2 weeks into the program and realized how good I felt. I could see how well this program worked, and the weight was coming off fast, and I thought, oh my word, this is gonna actually work for me. And it was an incredible moment for me. The beginning of many, many incredible moments. I'm gonna make this a short story because I really wanna leave time for our next storyteller. But to make a long story short, I lost 215 pounds on this program. Because Optavia has given me the ongoing tools and support, what is even more exciting for me is the fact that I'm not afraid the weight's ever coming back again. How many of you are excited about that? That is the real freedom that you guys want, isn't it? To lose the weight and not be afraid that it's coming back again. And we're going to tell you this evening how that can happen for you. Oh, and I'll tell you, those grandchildren that I didn't think I'd get to meet, I can sit on the floor to play with my granddaughter and get back up again. And Lord willing, someday I'm going to dance at her wedding. So there's kind of the quick rundown of my story, but I am really excited. If you think that's a cool story, wait till you meet my friend Brittany. Brittany, tell us a little bit about what's happened for you in the past months.
Oh my word. So as you can see in my former self, I had always been overweight. I tell you, the last time my weight started with a 1 was probably 5th or 6th grade. Not that I remember specific details, but the last 16 months have been an absolute dream. Every day is just a please pinch me moment. I'm finding new abilities every day. But at the age of 23, I found myself at over a quarter of a ton. I weighed 514 pounds, and yeah, I had my dream job. I am an agriculture teacher in high school, but I was barely making it through each day. I made it to the dismissal bell at the end of the day, but that was about it. I didn't have energy to sustain through the weekend. I went home, and that was about it. But a friend had reached out to me a couple of times over the course of a year. I tend to be a bit stubborn, but June of 2016, I decided to see what this was about. I started, like I said, June of 2016, but first week, my weight no longer started with a 5, I was in the 4s. And then every day after that, I'm finding new abilities. And 16 short months later, I'm down 281 pounds and still going.
Okay, did you guys hear that? You better say that again, Brittany, because they're going to think, I didn't hear that right. Must be a problem with the technology.
Nah, you heard me. Like I said, in 16 months, 281 pounds.
How amazing is that? I know a lot of you are just now picking your teeth off the floor again, right? Now, I'm not here to tell you that everyone's going to see results at that speed. Okay, obviously everybody loses weight at different rates. But in Brittany's case, she got on plan and she's just seeing fantastic results. And honey, we could not be more excited for you. And I'm eager for people to hear more of your story as we go through this evening. I find that often people will talk to me about wanting to know, like, what's the secret to success? If somebody wants to leave morbid obesity, what's the secret? Well, I'll tell you, it's really not much of a secret. Your coach, the person who invited you on the call, they know these secrets too. They know these tips too, but I'm going to share some of them with you this evening. And I'll tell you that every person who wants to do it can also escape morbid obesity by following these simple steps. Here's your keys to success. The first one, and this one's pretty critical, is to focus on why this matters to you. And I'm going to have Brittany share in a minute a little bit more about what helped her to get started. But that why is really important. In fact, in the chat box, those of you that have already seen considerable success with this program, I'd love to have you just take a quick second and put in that chat box, what was your why? What was your reason? You already heard one of mine. One of mine was my granddaughter. I mean, I didn't even know she existed when I started on the program, okay? But that was years ago. But it was my granddaughter. I wanted to be able to ride roller coasters again. Focus in on what matters to you. And the why is going to be an incredibly strong driving force for you, because the desire of what you want will pull you along. Do you know what I mean? Do you understand how that is? Yep. I love, oh my word, I'm going to have to go back through and read the chat box later. You guys are going to make me cry. Brittany, talk to us a little bit about that. Now, you said it took you a little while to decide to say yes, but once you finally said yes, what was your motivation?
So like I said, my main motivation at the beginning was my job. I had found the job that I so desperately wanted, but I was their limiting factor. My students weren't able to do certain things because I just couldn't do it. And that did not sit well with me. And now that I get to play in gym nights with them, I get to actually, I'll get to it later, but I get to drive because I can fit behind the steering wheel of a car. I get to say yes to so many more things, but every day I come into my classroom knowing that I can be my best self for them. It has evolved since then into creating independence and experiencing this whole new world that's at my fingertips, but just one day at a time, remembering my why and sticking to that.
But here's the other thing, Brittany, that I'd love to have you comment on, because your rate of loss is pretty tremendous. Now, you all know that with Optavia, we specialize in lifelong transformation, one healthy habit at a time. And we do know a thing or two about a safe and effective weight loss. But tell me, Brittany, I've had people that have said, wow, they really struggled with staying on plan. Talk to me a little bit about how that's been for you.
So if at the beginning I were to look at, oh, I need to lose over 300 pounds, it just wouldn't necessarily happen. It would be so easy to lose hope. But for me personally, I take it one day, one habit at a time. I've plugged into the system. I'm learning healthy habits along the way, but I know that I'm making good choices today because that's going to lead to new experiences tomorrow. And as you had seen, in 16 months, the weight has come off really quickly. But again, just one day, one habit at a time. And before you know it, you collect those days and those habits and those moments. And all of a sudden, this thing that was once a far-fetched dream is becoming my reality.
And speak to this too. I know the answer to this already, but I'm going to set you up for this, okay? I remember talking to you when you were about at the 1 year point. You had been on plan for about a year. And I said, so tell me, do you always stay on plan or have you ever gone off plan? And you said to me,
in 16 months, I have not veered off plan one single day.
So you understand what this means, my friends? This means if it's not in the Optavia guide, she doesn't need it. Okay, that's how you get results. That's how you get the fastest and best results. Again, it's going to vary from one person to the next. And if you only have 50 pounds to lose, you're going to lose at a slower rate. But it was part of the, I mean, in my case too, the rate of loss was pretty fast. I lost that 215 pounds in about 19 months. It's pretty quick because I got zoned in on my why, on what I wanted, and I went straight ahead. Now I'm going to move on though to the next step, okay, because there's more secrets. So the first one is focus in on why this why matters to you, what your important thing is and why that matters to you. The next thing is rely on your support system. How many of you have talked to people? You don't have to answer in the chat box. You can just raise your hand. I'll see you, okay? It's just like on TV, right? Yeah. How many of you have talked to people that have said, well, I can do this on my own? Maybe you've said that. Oh, I can do this on my own. How's that been working for you guys? When we're going to talk about making significant lifestyle change, it almost never happens in a vacuum. Let's take a moment quick, if you want, pop into the chat. Who or what was most helpful to you in this journey? whether it's a particular person or maybe a support piece, because with our program, that support system is critical. Your health coach, this optimal health community, it's awesome support. Brittany, would you talk a little bit more about like who is a support system for you and how has that been helpful to you in your journey?
Like you said, you don't have to do this alone. Actually, it's counterproductive to try to do this alone. I had referenced before that I tend to be stubborn, and at the beginning, that was my biggest struggle, is accepting help and accepting this support. But once I realized that I had this at my fingertips, it was a game changer. So I have my coach, who is a friend from high school, that I get to talk to every week as often as I need. I have a community of folks who are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing. And I heard it before that some days I'm their support and some days they're supporting me. And it goes both ways. And sometimes that happens on the same day. But we're all working together on these same goals. And it's this wonderful community that, again, you don't have to do it alone. I think my biggest one currently is my students. I would have never thought that my journey would be so entwined with school and my coworkers, but now my students, they see this change and they ask me about it. They're on top of things. But because I've opened the doors to allow this support into my life, I found it in the most unexpected places.
I found the same thing too, Brittany. I was overwhelmed at how much people were for me on this journey. They were so excited about the fact that I was getting healthier. And it was terribly humbling to me because I was used to being fiercely independent. But when it comes to your health, we just don't function well in a vacuum. And that community is going to be critical. That's why it's such an important part of our program. Plug it into your health coach, plug it into community, not only in the good days, but on the bad days when there's challenges too. The next part of this would be to continue to take small steps forward. Dr. A talks about these micro habits of health, where you're taking little steps each day. You know, one of those is like, and for most people, it's first of all, it's following the meal plan. And like Brittany said, you know, she got on plan and she stayed on plan. I got on plan, I stayed on plan. I wanted that weight off. So that was a simple step. It was just, okay, I didn't have to decide a lot. I just needed to decide I was going to stay on plan. You know, as you start adding in your healthy habits, as you start working in your habits of health book, most of you are already familiar with this one. This is the one that we use with our program, written by Dr. Wayne Anderson, who's the physician who created our program. Dr. A's Habits of Health is going to give you lots and lots of tips, simple steps that you can take to keep moving forward. And in that process, be patient with yourself, because you're learning. Dr. A will often say, you know, it's the small incremental steps taken over time that lead to the great results. Brittany, do you have comments on that, on how you found that to be true for you?
Like you had said, just focusing on one day, one healthy habit. I love the slogan, just lifelong transformations, one healthy habit at a time. You don't have to think of it as a complete overhaul, because that can be overwhelming. But maybe tomorrow I'm going to focus on drinking water, and then that will carry on to the next day too. And then the next day I'll focus on making sure I'm getting my sleep. But just one little thing at a time, and they all start to collect with each other. And I know that these things that I'm learning, once I hit my goal weight, it's not just peace out, Cub Scout. It's I have this collection of new knowledge that is going to help lifelong.
Well, that's it. And even then, you'll still be staying plugged into the community. You know, I know when I first got started on this journey, one of the hard things for me was to learn to drink enough water. I never drank water before. And it seemed like such a big thing at the time. Very simple, but it was a habit that I had to develop. Now, I don't think about it at all. That's one of those little tiny steps over time that just made such a big difference. You know, our last point on this, and then we do want to have a little bit of time for Q&A as well. This last one is important too, is to develop a growth mindset. Remember that if you are creating health that you've never had before, you're probably going to have to learn to do some things that you didn't do before. If you keep doing the same thing you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten, right? But that change can lead to incredible growth and progress. You might find in the process that maybe there's times you're just not even sure you can do this. Again, this is where your health coach is going to come in. So just feel that fear and do it anyway. It's not that this was all easy for me. I just kept walking into the next steps, and I've seen Brittany do that as well. You know, Dr. A talks about using stop, challenge, choose. Stop in the moment, contemplate, you know, challenge what's going on in your head, make the choices that are consistent with your goals. Using all components of our program. That's part of the growth mindset too. I've had people that said, well, I'm just going to do our weight loss program. Well, you need the full program to get the results that you want. Because if you tweak the program, you tweak the results, right? And another important thing on this is, as you're developing that growth mindset, is to be sure to celebrate your successes along the way. Both for Brittany and I, we celebrated successes along the way. You know, it was a bit of a journey for us, okay? We weren't getting that weight off in 3 months, okay? So I broke it down into little successes along the way, because as you celebrate those successes, you tend to get stronger. Talk to me about any of that, Brittany. Anything you'd like to comment on there?
So like you said, celebrating the small things, because again, if I were to think on day one, oh, I've got to lose 300 plus pounds, good grief. That just wouldn't, it doesn't sit well. It's kind of a shock factor. But I've got little jars that I move stones every week as I lose weight, and it's been really awesome to see the levels change. But celebrating, again, I'm making a good choice today, whether there's donuts in the faculty room, and I'm making the choice to not have those donuts, because tomorrow, who knows what I'm going to discover I can do. Things like I get to coach now, and I get to help other people do the same exact thing that I'm doing. I get to drive to work because I have the mental freedom to, one, fit behind the steering wheel, and two, just the mind to drive the car. I have moved out on my own. I've opened myself up to other relationships. It's just, yeah, the weight loss or escaping morbid obesity has been losing weight drastically, but the mental changes and the mental freedom and that growth means so much more.
It has been absolute. I mean, I'm not your direct coach, but because your coach is on our team, I've gotten to watch some of this process, and it's been breathtaking for me to watch not only the physical transformation, but what's been happening up here. You were always pretty cool, but as I've seen you grow, it's been breathtaking. It's been breathtaking. I'm just so excited for you. And I'm thinking you guys are all pretty pumped up about hearing Brittanys story too. I'm going to have just a little bit of time for Q&A here at the end. Don't put it in the chat box there, because it goes by too fast. I can't see it. But there is a Q&A function here on Zoom. So if you click on that, I will answer as many questions as we possibly can here in this remaining time. There's one question that's already come in asking if we both started on 5 and 1 or on a different program, on a higher calorie program. And that is a common one that comes up. I know in my case, I did start on 5 and 1. In Brittany's case, she started on 5, 2, and 2. And let me talk, actually, this was a question I knew was going to come up. And so I talked with our one of our experts in our nutrition support department. Jennifer Chrisman is a registered dietitian and our Optavia clinical nutrition director. And as far as what program is appropriate for someone who's morbidly obese, here's what she had to say. And I'm going to actually read it because she says it better than I would. But she says, when someone's morbidly obese, they certainly can do the optimal weight 5 and 1 plan, and that's what I did, working with their healthcare provider and Optavia coach, especially if they're taking medications. Some clients are motivated, and the simplicity of the 5 and 1 plan works for them, and that's how it was for me. Sometimes people feel more comfortable and not as overwhelmed by starting with a more flexible plan, like the optimal weight 5, 2, and 2 plan. And we've had people do this plan, lose weight, then go to the optimal weight 4, 2, and 1 plan, and then to the optimal weight 5 and 1 plan. And that's exactly what Brittany did. She started at 5, 2, and 2, went to 4, 2, and 1, and is now on 5 and 1. So coaches, if you need information on the 5, 2, and 2 plan, you can contact nutrition support, or you can go to Optavia Learn, and you'll find it there in the document library. And as far as which plan, you know, it's really going to be up to the individual. So 5, 2, and 2 may be a good fit for them. 5 and 1 may be a good fit. It really is kind of up to their individual preference. The optimal weight 5, 2, and 2 plan can meet the needs of a wide range of individuals, actually, not just those that are morbidly obese. So as Jen goes on to say, she says it's suitable for you if you want to incorporate all the food groups, including fruit and dairy and starches. If you have type 1 diabetes and are closely monitored by your healthcare provider. If you have type 2 diabetes and over 100 pounds to lose. if you're 65 or older and not regularly active or have over 100 pounds to lose, if you exercise more than 45 minutes per day, or if you have less than 15 pounds to lose. So I ran by that really quickly. Your best thing to do is to talk this over with your coach and get the counsel that you need for what is appropriate for your situation. Another question that came in here, and this one comes up a lot. Anytime that I have somebody who knows that I've lost a lot of weight, they'll say, so where did all of that extra skin go? Well, I'll tell you, I don't know. It's like the little fairies came and took it away. No, I'm kidding. They're going to have to edit that out later. But I'll tell you, as far as the skin is concerned, and again, I'm going to take this counsel straight from Jennifer Chrisman, our registered dietitian. In my case, I'll tell you the short story for me after losing 215 pounds is that my skin I found really tightened a lot. I don't have anything that I needed to have surgically repaired. And she would say that when it comes to the skin, genetics is going to play a key role in the skin elasticity, as well as age and amount of weight lost. Some people are just going to have loose skin, just like some people are destined to get stretch marks. You ladies, you know what we're talking about here. So genetics are going to play a big role in that. So when you've lost a lot of weight in a relatively short period of time, it's kind of natural for your skin to feel loose. Our skin's able to stretch and shrink due to its elasticity, and muscle will hold the skin against the body. Fat keeps the skin stretched out. That makes sense, right? So during weight loss, you lose the fat, which causes your skin to be a little bit looser. The skin will eventually shrink. However, it's going to take some time, and the amount of time will vary among individuals. So to improve loose skin, stay hydrated. Of course, we do that with our program because water helps to maintain the skin elasticity. Eat protein-rich foods. You know, with our program, we're doing that because those help to form collagen and elastin, which helps to keep that skin plump and elastic. And maybe you want to do some resistance training, like maybe lifting weights to fill in that space underneath the loose skin. Now, keep in mind, though, too, that the following might decrease skin elasticity, and some of these things are under your control. If you smoke, you're going to have less elastic skin. If you have poor nutrition, if you're dehydrated, your age can factor in. Harsh detergents can make an impact on that, like if you have soaps that have sulfites and so on. Sun exposure and tanning beds, you all know you aren't supposed to do that, right? Chlorine exposure, and you can contact your healthcare provider for additional guidance on that. Looking on here, boy, we've got, you know what, we have enough questions here. We may have to do another call on this. What do you think? You guys think that'd be a good idea? I have another question here. Somebody who said, I have a friend who's morbidly obese. Would it be okay if he or she would call you? Okay, well, I'll tell you this. Not that Brittany and I don't want to talk to all of your friends, but there's a lot of people in this call. And if you all have your friends call us, we're going to be on the phone all day. But here's the thing. Those of you that are coaches, you already know how to support them. The keys that we just shared today, you all already know those, right? And so what they need to know is that you're going to be there to support them, and they need to know that it's possible. So you may want to share this call with them, let them know what's possible, and then just support them along the way. Brittany, I knew this was going to happen. We're going to, like, too few minutes on this call. We may have to do this party again. What do you think, girl?
Count me in.
Well, let's do this. Let's do just a quick recap of those points again for those of you that may have joined in late. So our little secrets to success, our keys to success, focus on why this matters to you. Okay, if you want out of morbid obesity, focus on why this matters to you. Rely on your support system. Get in touch with whoever invited you onto this call. Ask them for help and stay close to them. Take those small habits forward, those micro habits of health over time, make incredible changes, and keep that growth mindset. Brittany, thank you so much for being on the call with me this evening. I know that you probably inspired more people than we are ever going to know, and it was delightful to have you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And for those of you that are listening in, just be sure to get in touch with whoever it was that invited you onto this call and let him or her know, they're probably a health coach, let them know what you heard that was helpful, okay? Congratulations to each of you for making the time to invest in your health by being on this call, and we look forward to seeing you back here again next week.
following audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.